It appears Trump can't escape bad news, with prior Trump voters vocalizing regret.
And you voted for him how many times?
3 times. That was my bad. Apparently, I'm an idiot.
The reason perhaps that the video clip of the third-time Trump voter, who is now calling herself an idiot for having voted for him, is going viral is because this is actually an increasingly common sentiment around Trump voters. Never mind him being underwater, with Republicans and independents, but MAGA voters specifically.
I'm really scratching my head because I voted Republican and most of us in the fishing industry did. And we're not seeing the positives come out of it, why we voted that way.
Well, according to a poll by Verisight and The Argument, Trump voters are now increasingly not only disappointed in how he's acting, they feel a level of embarrassment and shame of having voted for him at all, that they're lying about their vote. So 15% of his 2024 voters now disapprove of his performance, and 1 in 4 of them deny having voted for them. About 12 to 13% say they actually voted for Harris, and another 12% say they didn't vote at all.
Let's take a listen to one more woman who we spoke with. If you could say something to President Trump and he was going to hear you right now, what would it be?
You are a worthless pile of
And you voted for him how many times?
3 times. That was my bad. Apparently, I'm an idiot.
This is so significant considering the cult-like personality Trump has. I mean, you have Mike Johnson unwilling to have an independent thought at all because of Trump. Trump likes to bully people, demean people, and his followers usually get in line and are willing to excuse and justify pretty much everything he does. Not only are so many of his voters similar to this particular voter who's going viral, but they are now so embarrassed of having voted for him that they are lying about having voted for him, which shows, frankly, also how unpopular Trump is among their family, friends, neighbors, how unwilling they are to have supported this man who in the past they would have done it passionately and openly because of his cult-like figure. Now it's an embarrassment.
Kayleigh, I don't want to be surprised or blindsided in November. Should we be honest now and say, are we in danger?
Yeah, we are. If you look at historical trends, absolutely. The party that's governing wins choices. It tends to be a referendum on that party and they lose seats. So absolutely, it's an uphill battle and we have to be frank about that.
But the fact is the reason why the voters are so easily calling him out right now is because what he's doing is deeply unpopular and sending American economy and crisis down the drain.
I would say that this is the most troublesome sign that I have seen for the President of the United States and the Republican Party so far. What are we talking about? Well, let's take a look here. Voters on Trump and the cost of living. You go back when he was reelected back in October of 2024. He was beating Kamala Harris by 3 points on the cost of living, right? Look at his net approval rating now. Woo! Down underwater we go. His net approval at a record low, 41 points below water. You can't win when you're at 41 points below water on the cost of living. Kamala Harris couldn't win. The Democratic Party couldn't win. And I'm here to tell you that there's a better chance that I root for the New York Yankees than Donald Trump and the Republican Party winning when he's 41 points below water.
This was March 12th to March 16th. We could see even more, gas prices rise and prices go up in the coming days and weeks with the Iran war. So this number could get even worse. What about independence?
Yeah, what about independence? You think this 41 points below water is bad? Take a look at independence. It's even worse. 60 points underwater when it comes to Trump and the cost of living among independents. Again, a record low. You go back to October of 2024. He was winning on this issue over Kamala Harris by 11 points. Look at that switcheroo. That is a 71-point switcheroo in the wrong direction for Donald Trump when we're coming to the cost of living and independence. And this, my dear friends, is just a political nightmare waiting to happen for the Republican Party come the midterm election.
So according to a recent Economist YouGov poll, which they do it week by week, his approval is a negative 18. negative 18. He has had bad approval since September, where he was negative 15. In fact, he didn't have decently high approval since last spring, March or April, where he started firing government workers, had Elon Musk jumping around the Oval Office. Well, the situation with Iran, the war with Iran, the killing of innocent people, the clear situation that Trump has no plan is devastating him in the polls.
We'll find out. I mean, it's going to be a very specific request. I'm sure it's tied to specific things. It's not a random number, so we have to adequately fund defense. It's a dangerous time.
So you support that level?
I support what's needed to ensure that the American people remain safe. So we'll see what that number is. I haven't seen the details. We just heard.
I will not vote for a war supplemental. No, I am a no. I've already told leadership I am a no on any war supplementals. I am so tired of spending money elsewhere. I am tired of the industrial war complex getting all of our hard-earned tax dollars. I have folks in Colorado who can't afford to live. We need America First policies right now, and that I'm not doing that.
This is high. 469 is definitely one of the highest I've seen it, and I've been here for 27 years now, so that's something to say. That's crazy.
Describe what you're going through for me.
Well, I just make sure that I focus to save enough money for the week to get to and from work instead of, or if I can, I'll walk to the store or take the light route if I can, if it's not hot, but it's going to be hot again. So, yeah. So those are some choices that I do make.
The net approval for how Trump is handling Iran is a negative 20, which was a drop in just the last week. 39% of Americans, only 39% of Americans approved of how Trump was handling Iran. 52% disapproved. That was a net approval of negative 13. And the biggest change was among independents, which decreased by negative 23%. This is again week to week.
Fertilizer, those that need to buy are hurting pretty bad because we've had this huge jump in fertilizer prices because of this conflict. And, you know, with only about 30% of fertilizer coming through the Strait of Hormuz, that's, if you divide that out per day, that's about 0.09% of the world's fertilizer coming through there. And even if the U.S. only uses 30% of that, which I think is probably a really high number, that's 0.03% and per day. So we've only been in conflict for nearly 12 days here, and our fertilizer costs have jumped nearly 77%, and our corn price has only gone up by 5%. So we've got some real challenges here ahead of us.
So, yes, I'm glad the Ayatollah Senior is gone. I won't mourn his loss. But if this doesn't result in any change for the Iranian people, then what have we accomplished on their behalf? And at such a terrible cost to ourselves in the loss of service members. We're spending about $1 billion a day in Iran. And that's money that could be used to improve people's quality of life here. I looked up this morning the average cost of building a hospital in America, depending on the size, about $100 million. So it's the equivalent of dropping 10 hospitals a day on Iran. That's 10 communities that don't have a hospital because we decided that bombing Iran was a better use of our money. I don't think it's a better use of our money.
The fact is, the only group that still has any approval of what's happening in Iran is Republicans who frankly watch Fox, and they get lied to a lot. So important that how much the independent approval is, negative 23%, because independents often swing elections. And this is devastating news for Trump and the Republican Party.
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MeidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MeidasPlus.com.